Friends, the recruitment exam, which will be conducted by UPSC for recruitment of 53 number of deputy architects in Central Public Works Department and one vacancy of assistant architect in the same department, will be conducted on 11th August 2024. I'm sure that most of you are preparing very hard and very thoroughly for this exam. It is once in a while opportunity, so I'm giving a very all the best to all the candidates who are appearing for this exam in the beginning. I can read from your emails, from your WhatsApp, Facebook messages that most of you are finding both the Architect's Guidebook useful while preparing for this exam. Today I am going to answer why you should refer both the guidebooks if you are preparing for recruitment exam like UPSC by doing the analysis of the previous exam conducted by UPSC for recruitment of assistant architect in the same department. This exam was conducted in the year 2023. We are going to do the analysis of the question paper. So I, Architect Swapnil, welcome you all to this new lecture. Don't forget to watch this video lecture till the end. It will be definitely help you if you are appearing for this 11th August exam conducted for recruitment exam, recruitment of 53 number of deputy architects. You can read about my introduction on your screen. Right now I am working as deputy architect in military engineer services, and I have also been recommended by UPSC in the year 2020, where I secured All India rank 3 in that particular recruitment exam. And presently I'm working as deputy architect in military engineer services, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, at the post of deputy architect. Before we start discussing the question paper, I just want to quickly answer some of the FAQs, frequently asked question, raised by the student. The first and very genuine question few students have asked: sir, will I be able to confidently crack the UPSC recruitment exam confidently only with the self-study and without any coaching? Because most of you might be confused looking at the UPSC title that it may be as difficult as the civil services exam, and you won't be able to crack without any proper coaching. My answer to this question: yes, you can definitely crack with the self-study, but you need to prepare it very thoroughly. Some short preparation of a month or two will not be suitable or will not help you definitely, because this exam is not something like the GATE exam where you might be able to crack the GATE exam in a shorter duration preparation of a month or two. Here this will thoroughly test your knowledge. The difficulty of the questions will not be at par with the GATE exam. The second question which student asked: sir, whether you are conducting any coaching for this GATE and other exam? My answer is no, friends. I am just helping you all through these video lectures, and I am trying to communicate the knowledge whatever I have gained through my experience through both the guidebooks which are available to you. The third question I want to answer is: sir, whether both these guidebooks are equally useful for the recruitment exam like UPSC? My answer is yes. You can definitely refer this both the guidebooks while preparing for the recruitment exam of UPSC. Now, why I'm saying is yes, if you compare the syllabus of this recruitment exam which has been declared by UPSC, and if you compare the syllabus with the set 2, then you will find that most of the topics of the syllabus we have covered it in the set 2, and the syllabus of set 2 is based on the GATE syllabus, right? So while preparing for GATE, you are also preparing for the recruitment exams like UPSC, DDA, ISRO, etc. The last question I'm going to answer is whether UPSC recruitment exam and GATE exam are similar in terms of difficulty, pattern, or marks. My answer is no. Now, why this answer is no? Let's understand about the difference between the GATE and UPSC exam in brief. First of all, if we talk about the latest exam of UPSC-CPWD Assistant Architect conducted in 2023, the total number of questions are 120. Duration is 2 hours. So you have 120 minutes to solve 120 questions, right? So on an average, there is only 1 minute available to you to read the question, to go through the answer, decide which option is correct, and answer it on your OMR sheet. Now, before the pandemic, UPSC was conducting CBRT, computer-based recruitment test, which was very similar like the GATE exam. But now again UPSC have shifted to offline pen and paper exam, where you have to circle the correct option on the OMR sheet. Total marks for this written are 300. I forgot to mention about the total number of questions in comparison with the GATE. In GATE, you have only 65 questions, 10 questions from the general aptitude, 55 questions from part A and part B. Here, there is no general aptitude. All the 120 questions will be strictly based on the syllabus, right, which is mentioned in their notifications. 65 questions, you have 3 hours. Here, 120 questions, you have only 120 minutes. The next thing is, here all questions, they are carrying equal marks, that is 2.5 marks. It is not same in GATE. There are questions for 1 mark each and 2 marks each, right? Next, here negative marking of 1/3. So if all questions they are carrying equal marks, that is 2.5 marks for each question, then if you answer a question wrong, then there will be a negative marking of 0.83, right? Here the written test will be followed by the interview. In GATE, there is only computer-based exam, and that will be the final, right? So here, after written test, if you are eligible to crack the written exam, then you will be eligible for the interview, similar like the civil services exam. So the total marks in this recruitment exam will be 400, right? And the weightage in the final result will be 75% marks will be taken from your written score and 25% will be taken from your interview score. There will be no separate score declared like the civil services exam, that how much marks you have achieved in written and how many marks you have achieved in interview. Your final result will be declared, and the score which will be displayed in the final result will be out of 300 plus 100. That means out of 400 the result will be declared. So again, this 75-25 is not same for all the categories. Let's understand about this 75-25 ratio for the different categories. As you can read on your screen, this was again the notification by the CPWD, notification by UPSC. The standard of suitability of marks for appearing in the interview are 50% and above for the general category. Like as I said, 300 maximum marks are there for the written. If candidate, the general category candidate, unreserved category candidate has achieved 50% and above, then all those candidates will be eligible for the interview. The percentage or the suitability of marks in the written decreases for OBC, then further followed by SC and followed by PWD candidate. So let's understand the above facts for the previous exam. I will quickly go through these facts, like what was the cutoff marks for the previous papers, for the previous exams, very briefly, so that you will be conscious about while marking the answer in this upcoming exam of deputy architects, which will be conducted on 11th August 2024. The notification on your screen is for the result of 22 post of assistant architect in Central Public Work Department, and this exam was conducted in the year 2016. Now for this 22 post, the total number of candidates who have appeared in the written test were 1521. You can see the kind of competition is there for this recruitment exam. The bifurcation you can see on your screen, that what was the bifurcation as per the category: general category, OBC, SC and ST. Now the total number of candidates finally selected from these different categories, out of 900 candidates, 10 candidates were selected for the general category. You can imagine that for how many, as I said, what kind of competition was there, right? So then 7 OBC candidate, SC 3 candidates, 1 was the ST candidate. Then 1 OBC candidate has been recommended against unreserved category. Now what does it mean? That the score of 1 OBC candidate was at par with the general category candidate. Now the next fact which is very important here is, what were the minimum level of suitability of marks achieved by the candidate who was selected for, or who was recommended, or who was eligible to appear in the interview. Like you can see on your screen, the candidates which was in unreserved category or in general category having the recruitment test score of 142 and above was called for the interview. Then interview marks or the minimum level of interview marks achieved by the candidate was 50 and above, right? Similarly, it goes on for OBC, SC, ST. I will not go in detail. So the final selection in unreserved or general category out of 400 score was 203 and above, right? And you can see just in the next row, the highest mark obtained by the candidate in different categories. In unreserved category, the highest score was 233. This score is out of 400. So as I said in the beginning, the difficulty level, the standard level of recruitment exam is very, very standard and it is very high, right? Where you can see the highest mark achieved by the candidate, it is near about 50%, right? Similarly, it goes on for OBC, SC, ST, 217, 184 and 185, right? So this score is out of 400. As I said in the beginning, there is no separate declaration of written marks and interview marks. Let's see these figures for the other exam. The recruitment exam for 7 post of Deputy Architect, Military Engineer Services in Ministry of Defense. As I said in the beginning, I was the one who was recommended by UPSC to join this post in Military Engineer Services. For the 7 post, total number of candidates appeared were 719. So this was the bifurcation as per the category. 415 in general category, 161 in OBC, follows as 133, 10 for SC and ST respectively. Then the total number of candidates finally selected from this category, out of 415 unreserved category, only 2 candidates were selected. Similarly, out of 161, 3 candidates. This was the how many candidates they have to select was already declared, right? Like what is the total vacancy in unreserved category for OBC category and SC category? Generally, this is declared in the post notification only while they are giving the notification for the recruitment test. Here the next figure, the fourth row, minimum level of suitability of mark in recruitment test. So you can see the kind of difficulty level for this exam. The minimum level they have set for the recruitment exam, so that if you have score 117 and above, if you are falling in unreserved category, then you are eligible for appearing in the interview. The reason behind why the score came below than the previous score of like 142, here there was a change in the syllabus. Many questions were from the Indian Contract Act, and those particular act was never the part of our architecture syllabus. Many questions you can go through that question paper in which is there in set 1 of architecture guidebook. So here the difficulty level was much more higher than the CPWD exam. So the final selection under unreserved category was 188 and above. Similarly, for OBC it was 187 and above. For SC it was 167 and above. The fifth row, which is most important here, you can see the difficulty level as well as the score, the cutoff level. The cutoff for the general category was 193 and above. Okay. Similarly, for OBC it was 203 and above. Here, few OBC candidates, they have achieved the score at par with the general standard categories. That is why few OBC candidates were recommended against the general standard the marks as per the general category student. So total marks of written exam were 300, then total marks for interview were 100 marks, similar as we have discussed. So weightage, again it was same, 75-25. Now again, coming back to our question, why these 2 books are important for competitive exams like UPSC-CPWD or the other exams which will be conducted by UPSC for recruitment of architects in various central government organizations. Now, as I discussed, total number of questions in this particular exam, which was conducted in 2023, were 120, total marks 300. The minimum level of suitability of mark in written test we will just assume that the minimum suitability of marks were 50% for general category. Again, it might go down based on the relaxed standards, right? So 150 marks were required so that you will be you would have been eligible to appear in the interview. Then the next fact, can you guess the number of questions which had their references in set 1 of set 2? Whether there were 10, 20, 30, 40? The answer is the number of questions where you will find that you have already the information available in set 1 or set 2 of Architect's Guidebook were 62 numbers, right? So the most important thing I like to mention here is you have 120 minutes to answer 120 questions. So I will definitely recommend to first go through those questions where you can quickly select the answer if you have done the multiple revisions of both the guidebooks and you are aware about the answer, so that you can save your time and you can go through all those easy questions, right? And you can score maximum marks in the written test. So as I said, on an average 2.5 marks are there for each question. So if we multiply 62 by 2.5 marks, the minimum marks which were easy to achieve in the previous UPSC-CPWD 2023 exam were 155. So if you compare this 155 with the 50% eligibility to appear, to get eligible for interview, so these 62 questions or these 62 questions would have definitely helped you to make you eligible to appear in the interview. So we are going to discuss all those 62 questions in the next few minutes. So don't forget to watch this video lecture till the end. I'm sure that it will definitely help you to prepare your own preparation strategy if you are preparing for recruitment exam like UPSC or the other exams like Delhi Development Authority, ISRO, etc. These institutes are conducting the recruitment exam on a regular basis. The one thing or the one disclaimer I want to mention here is we are not going each and every question because I just don't want to read the theory, or I just don't want to give you the answer directly. The entire question paper, all the 120 questions we have solved in the 9th edition of Architect's Guidebook Set 1. You can scan the QR code if you want to refer the Architect's Guidebook Set 1. This QR code will give you the link for the book which is available on Amazon, and you can go through the all questions or other thing which we are doing for the previous lectures also. While watching this lecture, you can go through the solved question paper and see how we have interlinked the questions which were there in UPSC CPWD exam with the information available either in set 1 or set 2 of Architect's Guidebook. So here we begin for solving the question paper of UPSC CPWD 2023. The first question of UPSC CPWD 2023 we are going to start is question 5. Which one of the following refers to construction elements that have the capacity to absorb and store heat? The options were heat mass, thermal mass, heat pond, and heavy elements. Here you can observe in the options that heat mass is the material which is not absorbing and storing heat. Heat mass is something which has included the heat inside that material, right? So this option A is not the correct one. Then heat pond and heavy elements, these are definitely the irrelevant options. The correct option here was thermal mass, for which we have already discussed the theory in section 3.6.1 under passive heating title, or in this particular section of under passive heating, where we have discussed direct heat gain system and indirect heat gain systems in set 2. So in set 2 we have discussed that in direct gain heat system, the solar energy, it can be stored in the form of floors, walls, ceiling, or other furniture material available inside the space, and these components, they have the capacity to absorb and store heat. in daytime the heat will be absorbed and it will be emitted in the night hours when the outside temperature is actually low. You can observe that lot in nowadays we are observing lot of urban heat island effect in our metropolitan areas, and because of large concrete mass which is situated compactly in the metropolitan cities, we are facing this kind of issues. So these floors, walls, ceiling and furniture materials, they are called as the thermal storage mass. So here the correct option was option B. If you have read the theory related to this direct gain system in set 2, then I think answering this question would have been very easy. The correct option was option B. So first 2.5 marks you could have achieved here very easily. So 2.5 is your score till this question, first question of question 5. The next question was question 7. Which one of the following indexes is the temperature of calm air at 50% relative humidity, which imparts the same thermal sensation as the given environment? Options were temperature humidity index, thermal sensation index, heat stress index, and the tropical summer index. Again, similar like the previous one, we have discussed the correct option or the theory related to the correct option in 2 earlier GATE papers, which were they in GATE 2022 question 65 and GATE 2018 at question 11. You can pause the video and you can check these respective questions. So the correct answer for this question was tropical summer index. If you refer GATE 2018 question 11, you can see that the definition which is mentioned in question 7 of UPSC-CPWD is given in the explanation. So I'm just reading from the explanation. Tropical summer index, shortly called as TSI, is defined as air or globe temperature of the still air at 50% relative humidity, which produces the same overall thermal sensation as the environment under investigation or environment under consideration. Now this definition have been given in question 7 and they are asking this definition is of which term, right? So the correct answer for this particular question 7 was option D, tropical summer index. Also you can see that I have provided the formula for this to calculate the tropical summer index, which you can see on your screen. Based on this formula, the numerical answer type question was asked in the recent GATE paper of GATE 2022 question 65. So as I said, this was the numerical question 65. A room is maintained at bedbug temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, globe temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, and air velocity of 0.5 meter per second. The decrease in tropical summer index when the air velocity is increased to 3 meter per second, it will be how much? So you have to just put the value in the formula and calculate the answer. So here the correct answer was 2.05. I have solved the question. You can see the explanation in that. I will not go in depth, but here what I want to say is the question have been asked in 3 different ways. Earlier they have provided earlier we have seen the explanation. Based on that, in question 7 of UPSC-CPWD, the term have been asked, like this explanation is about which term, and in GATE 2022 they have asked the numerical answer type question. So what I want to say here is you can yourself analyze that how many different ways the question can be asked based on the explanation, which is readily available in set 1 or set 2 of Architect's Guidebook. And this you can do by doing the multiple revisions. When you are doing 3 to 4 readings, you can start analyzing that how the question can be asked from the explanations given. So this question 7 or question 65 of GATE 2022 or GATE 2018 is very good example of asking the question in different ways. Okay, so more 2.5 mark you could have achieved here. So total score till this question would have been 5. The next question is, which one of the following is the measure of total heat energy in a refrigerant for every degree of temperature? The options were latent heat, entropy, specific heat, and enthalpy. Now please read the question carefully. We have discussed the numerical answer type questions related to this unit mention as well as the theory. So the correct answer here was specific heat, and the question related to this correct answer, which is specific heat, was earlier asked in GATE 2019 at question 30. What was the question? It was match the pair question. So in group 1 they have mentioned the quantity, and in group 2 they have mentioned the units. So here you can observe that here the R correctly matches with 1, right, which is exactly the unit given in question 8 of UPSC-CPWD. The only difference is instead of joule they have mentioned kilojoule, otherwise everything is same. So what is the definition of specific heat? I think everyone must be aware about this. Is our 10+2 physics. Specific heat is defined as the amount of heat energy required to increase the temperature of unit mass by 1 degree Celsius. You can observe this unit, the amount of heat energy which is expressed here in kilojoule required to increase the temperature of unit mass of a substance. That is unit mass, it is expressed in kilogram. By how much? By 1 degree Celsius. So here this unit, it defines it is the specific heat. So the specific heat is the measure of total heat energy in a refrigerant for every degree of temperature rise. So the correct option here was option C, because we have discussed this in GATE 2019 at question 30, as well as the related question, as you can see, which are the quantities which are there in group 1 of question 30 of GATE 2019. Again, the related question was there in the earlier question paper of GATE 2016 at question 14. So all these questions, they are interrelated to each other, and the question have been asked in some different way. So 2.5 more marks total score till this question would have been 7.5. The next question, again the easier one, question 11. Which one of the following is the ground area covered by the building immediately above the plinth level? Options were closed area, covered area, carpet area, and cluster area. Now we have discussed all these definitions in GATE 2013 in the explanation of question first. You can see the question of this 2013 on your screen. In case of residential apartments, the effective floor area available for use within an apartment is known as. Now for this question, the correct answer was carpet area, because in question they have said the effective floor area available for use. Now you must be aware that carpet area in layman term we called as actual the area where we can lay the carpet. It is actually the effective area available for use, because the wall area will not be included in the carpet area. Here we have discussed the correct answer, which is the covered area, plinth area, or we also called as a covered area. It is measured at any floor level, at any story, and which consists of the external dimensions of a building at any floor level, but the plinth offsets are not included in that area. Which plinth offsets? For example, if some courtyard is there, or some open area or there, or a cantilever balcony, this is not included in the plinth area. But the supported porches, where other than the cantilevered porch, they are included in the plinth area. So the correct answer for this question 11 of UPSC-CPWD was covered area, that is option B. Very easy to answer, because carpet area definitely the incorrect one, which is given in option C. Cluster area is not related to the ground area inside a building. Closed area, definitely not a technical term. Closed area is not the correct one. So the correct option for this was option B, covered area. More 2.5 marks, total score would have been 10 till this question. Question 12. The author of the best-selling popular novel The Fountainhead, that has celebrated the idea that the prime generator of built form is the creative power of individual architect. Now the question related to this book and his author have been earlier asked in GATE 2011 at question 37. So I think selecting option B was not difficult one, because most of you must be aware about this author and this book, The Fountainhead. So this was one of the easy question. Yes, as I said, the related question was there in question 37, where again the question was match the pair question. So answer here for question 12 of UPSC-CPWD was B option. So more 2.5 mark, total score till this question would have been 12.5. The next question, question 13, is as described by Kevin Lynch in his seminal work, The Image of the City, which of the following are points referred as the strategic points in a city into which an observer can enter and which are intensive foci to and from which he is traveling? We have discussed the 5 principles defined by Kevin Lynch in his work of Image of the City in set 1 as well as in the set 2 of Architect's Guidebook. So the related question, the GATE question, was there in GATE 2009 at question 26, in which we have explained or we have discussed all his 5 principles and his definition. So here you can observe the lines which are mentioned in question 13, that these are the points referred as strategic spots in a city into which an observer can actually enter and which are intensive foci to and from which he is traveling. So this exactly definition we have earlier discussed in question 26 in the explanation, that this definition, it defined the nodes. Here you can see on your screen, you can pause the video and read this, that nodes are points, the strategic spots in a city into which an observer can enter and which are intensive foci to and from which he is traveling. Exactly the same line have been repeated in question 13 of UPSC-CPWD. So I think answering this question was not difficult one. If you have read and if you have done the careful revision of both the Architect's Guidebook multiple times, then I think selecting option C was not difficult one. Total score till this question would have been 15. Question 18, again the easier one. The radiant city concept was originated by, similar like the previous one, I think selecting option B would not take more than 1 second if you have done the careful revision of previous year question paper and the theory which is available in set 2. Earlier the question was asked multiple times. As you can see on your screen, question 31 of GATE 2023 was match the pair question, in which we have discussed that radiant city have been defined by Le Corbusier. So the question related to the similar term or the similar question was earlier asked in GATE 2021 at question 33, GATE 2004, GATE 2006. You can pause the video and check these respective questions and can analyze that how many times or how many different way the question have been asked. Okay. So here the correct option was option B, Le Corbusier. Total score till this question would have been 17.5. The next question, in the context of seminal work on cities in evolution, the pioneer who has articulated the place-work-folk interrelationship is which of the following? Similar like the previous one, we have discussed this, the triangle given by Patrick Geddes in his seminal work of cities in evolution. The related question was there in ISRO 2019, similar like the UPSC-CPWD. This ISRO 2019 was again the recruitment exam paper. So question 50 was based on this information, as well as the reference was there in GATE 2005 at question 75. As I just said, this question 50 of ISRO 2019 is there on your screen. So Patrick Geddes, who has been called as the father of modern town planning, and he has given this principle, the triangle of folk, place, work. So the reference was also there in set 2 of Architect's Guidebook under the relevant section. So I think selecting answer A was not the difficult one for question 19. Total score would have been 20 till this question. The next question is match the following. In group 1 they have mentioned the historic city, and group B the short description associated with the city layout have been mentioned. In group A, the cities mentioned are Venice, and the particular year is mentioned, Venice in 1575, London in 1682, and Shanghai in 1935. In group B, they have mentioned the description. So we have to match the correct pair and select the option accordingly. You can observe that the first serial number or the first description given in group B is the megapolis of continental Asia. In group A, the only Asian city mentioned is Shanghai, which is at serial number R. So R matches with 1, right? So you can observe in option A, B, C and D, only 2 options says R1 as the correct pair. So option A and option D are the incorrect one. We will delete these 2 incorrect options. We have to select the correct option from option B and option C. The next thing you can observe, Venice is known as the city of canals, right? it is a very famous city. So option P, it correctly matches with 2, right? Which is mentioned in option B, P2 and R1. These two pairs we have logged. So option B is the correct one. Option C is the incorrect one. So here I think again the easier question was there. So as I said, option B was the correct one. The question related to these cities mentioned in group A have been also previously asked. You can refer this particular explanations in GATE 1994 question 3. The question related to London was previously asked, that who was the planner for this city. The question was there in the previous year question paper. So I think 2.5 marks achieving in this question of 20, in this question 20 was not difficult one. Total score till this question would have been 22.5. The next question, on the acoustic scale of Doxiadis, there are options given: 12 levels of settlement size consisting of a single man to 50 to 60 billion people. Then in option B says 15 levels, the range of population is 50 to 60. Option C says 15 levels of settlement and the population is 30 to 50 billion people. D says 12 levels of settlement and the population range is 30 to 50 billion people. Now the question based on the acoustic scale given by Doxiadis, it was asked multiple times. It was asked earlier in the UPSC-CPWD 2015 question paper also in question 68, GATE 2008 question 26, 2007 question 54, GATE 2006 question 25, 2004 72, 2001 question 13. You can check all these questions that how many different ways the question have been asked. I think we have also discussed this acoustic scale in the recent video, in the previous video where we have discussed the solved question paper of GATE 2024. So here, in that explanation, you must have seen this table. The levels of settlement Doxiadis has proposed in his acoustic scale were 15 level of settlement. It starts from Anthropos, where the population size is a single man, and it goes on increasing till the entire world has been considered as a settlement. Now the question based on this, the largest size of settlement, which is eco-monopolies, was previously asked in the recent GATE 2024 exam paper. So here the population he has considered is 30 to 50 billion people, right? So option C was the correct one for this question 21st of UPSC CPWD. If you have done careful revisions that how many levels are there and what is the population, because here you can see in option C and D the population given is 30 to 50 billion, right? Both the options contain the population range as 30 to 50 billion. You have to select the correct answer from option C and D based on exactly how many number of settlement, how many levels of settlement he has proposed, whether there are 12 or there are 15. So carefully read each and every information which is available next to you in set 1 and set 2 of Architect's Guidebook while you are preparing for this competitive exams. Maybe it may be the GATE exam or the other recruitment exam. So more 2.5 marks you could have achieved here if you have done the careful revision. So total score till this question would have been 25. The next question was a little bit tricky. Question 22 is, in any land use transportation study, Lowry model considers the spatial characteristics of an urban area in terms of three broad sectors of activity. These three broad sectors are which of the following given options? Option A says population, land use, transportation. B says population, employment and service sector. Option C says land use, traffic volume and service sector. Option D says land use, employment and transportation. Now why did I say that this question was little bit tricky? If you observe the options given, Lowry model, it explains the factors which are mentioned in all the four options, right? First one, he has considered the land use, then he has considered the population also, he has considered the employment and he has considered the transportation also. Under population, he has considered the basic employment and the service employment also, which you can see it's mentioned in the option C and option B. But if you read the question carefully and if you have gone through the explanation which was readily available in the previous GATE paper of GATE 2003 at question 31, the three broad sectors were land use, employment and transportation. So for this, option D was the more correct answer according to me. But here, as I said earlier, the official answer key for this question paper has not been published by the UPSC till date as far as my knowledge is concerned, because I have searched the official answer key which was not available. So here the correct option would have been option D, land use, employment and transportation, because they are asking three broad sectors, right? So Lowry model, it explains the interrelationship between land use, employment and transportation. So 2.5 more marks I am considering this based on the multiple revisions if the candidate has done prior to this exam. So 2.5 marks more I have considered for this. Total score till this question would have been 27.5. The next question is, who presented a theory on hexagonal system of settlement pattern with a superimposition of physical constraints? Now, if it was provided in the foregiven option, then Walter Christaller would have been the best suitable answer. Why I am saying? Because he is the one who has invented this central place theory, wherein he has used the hexagonal system of settlement pattern. Earlier we have discussed this in GATE 2018 at question 36. In GATE 2006 question 22, the question based on this central place theory was previously asked. Now, if you observe the question, the options given in question 23, the next suitable option or the best suitable option for this question as given in the foregiven option is Edwin Lutyens, because you must be aware that he has planned the New Delhi, and the layout, it consists of this hexagonal system of settlement. So none of the planner mentioned at option A, option C and D, they are associated with hexagonal system of settlement pattern. The correct one is Edwin Lutyens as per as the options given in question 23. So B was the correct answer for this question 23. So more 2.5 mark, total score till this question would have been 30. Question 24, again based on the previous GATE question paper. In Vedic period, which structure was always kept in the center of the settlement? Options were King's Palace, Court, Water Pond and Temple. Now, I'm just requesting to refer GATE 2013 question 7 in set 1 for more information on this. The explanation is on your screen. We have discussed this in multiple times, right? So in Sarvotra Bhadra, I have explained that the temple, it dominates the village layout, right? The temple is generally kept at the center and the entire village is planned around that temple. Similarly for Nandyavarta, here I have already explained that these streets, they run parallel to the central adjoining street with temple of the presiding deity at the center of the town. So the correct option for this question 24 is option D, temple. Easy to answer because the reference was there in the previous question paper in set 1. So 2.5 more mark you could have achieved here. Total score would have been 32.5. Question 25. As per the Manual of Architecture Practice of the Council of Architecture, which of the following tenders quotes a fixed price? Please underline this word, fixed price. If the quote is varied, it involves contractual problems and methodology to arrive at the rates for addition, deletion and alteration would be necessary, and it is to be built in the tender document. As soon as you read the word fixed price, you can answer it quickly that it is a lump sum tender. Now why I am saying this? Because we have earlier discussed these types of tenders in UPSC-CPWD 2016 in question 60. Here I have provided the definition. In lump sum tender, the contractor undertakes to carry out the work as shown on the plan and specification till completion. For lump sum tender, your drawing should indicate each and everything, because the contractor will quote his tender price based on the whatever available on the drawing and what is the specification which has been provided related to the plans or related to the sections or related to all the quantities which is shown on the plan. If in case there is some kind of a changes, then the contractor may ask some different amount which he has not quoted at the time of submission of his tender. So it involves the contractual problem. There will be always dispute. He will in technical term or in the government term, it is called as the deviation order. The contractor will ask for the deviation order because if it is not included in the first tender price, then he has to pay from his own pocket, which is not possible. So he will ask some extra kind of money, which government again needs to carefully study whether he is charging some extra amount or whether it is whether the price is suitable or not. So a lot of time there used to be dispute between the contractor and the government, or the contractor and the tenderer, and which leads to the arbitration. So in lump sum tender, the contractor he generally quotes a fixed price, right? So, and the next explanation or the next sentence which is given, that if the quote is varied, it involves the contractual problems and methodology to arrive at the rate for addition, deletion or alteration. As I just said, lot of time this lump sum tender, it leads to the arbitration or court cases like that. So here the correct option was lump sum tender, and this could have been answered very easily because the definition was there in question 60 of UPSC-CPWD 2016, and by doing the multiple revisions you must have answered this quickly, that this definition is of lump sum tender, which is given at option C. So 2.5 more marks would have been added here. Total score till this question would have been 35. The next question, question 26 is, as per the Architects Act 1972, architect has to ensure, option A says that his professional activities do not conflict with his general responsibility to contribute to the quantity of the environment and future welfare of the society. Option B says that his image within the society is well maintained. Option C says that his designs solve the emergencies of environmental degradation. Option D says that his designs are of lowest cost to save the country's finances and future welfare of society. If you go through the options, you can see that option D is totally the irrelevant or the incorrect one. Option B says that his designs solve the emergencies of environmental degradation. Now, it is expected from the architect that his design must be environment friendly, but it is not obligation, right? So option C is also not the correct one, because the question says architect has to ensure. So it is not obligatory that each and every design it should be environment friendly, or it should solve the emergencies of environmental degradation. So option C is also the incorrect one. Option B says that his image within the society is well maintained. Now it is a moral responsibility, right? So it is nothing specified in the Architects Act 1972. Option A is the correct suitable option for this, which says that his professional activities do not conflict with his general responsibility to contribute to the quantity of the environment and the future welfare of the society. So I think it is kind of a general knowledge kind of a question. And if you have read this Architects Act 1972, each section, then what are the responsibility, what is the role, we have also discussed in the section professional practice in set 2 related to the theory related to this Architects Act 1972. I think UPSC exam also specify the syllabus in which they particularly mention Architects Act 1972. So it is expected from the candidate that he has read the sections, he has read the information related to the Architects Act 1972. So I think selecting option A was not that difficult, because as I said, B, C and D are not the correct one or not the relevant one, which says that architect has to ensure that this must be followed, right? So option A for this question 26 was the correct one. Total score till this question would have been 37.5. Question 27 is, as per the section 37 of Architects Act 1972, which one of the following titles is exempted from legal action even if the title contains use of word architect? As I just recently said, it is expected from the candidate that he should go through the Architects Act 1972. He should understand the provisions, what is the moral responsibility, what are the obligations as per the Architects Act 1972 on the architect. If you go through the options A says interior architect, B says software architect, C is landscape architect, D is the facade architect. Now there is no such technical term which says interior architect or exterior architect, or option D says facade architect. So A and D are totally the irrelevant one. Option B says software architect. Now software architect is not part of Architects Act 1972. So option B is also the incorrect one. Option C is the correct option for this question 27. The reason being, unless and until you are registered with Council of Architecture, you cannot use the title architect. But two people or two professionals, they can use the word architect, and they are exempted from legal action as per Architects Act 1972, are landscape architect, and second is the naval architect. Landscape architect, as you know, he deals with design of open spaces relating to plants, trees and landscape, and naval architect, he is responsible for design and construction of ships. So these two architects, they are exempted from legal action even if they use the word title as architect as per this Architects Act 1972. So as I said, interior architect and facade architect, totally the irrelevant or incorrect options. So A and D you can delete in your first glance. Option B, software architect, because it is not part of Architects Act 1972, B is also the incorrect one. So C was the correct option for this. I think easy question, more 2.5 marks, then total score till this question would have been 40. Question 29. As per the Professional Code of Conduct, architect is liable for action if he. Again, the question is related to Architects Act 1972. Option A says allows his name to appear in advertisements inserted in the press by the suppliers, manufacturers of materials used in the building he has designed, provided his name is included in an unostentatious manner and does not accept any consideration for its use. Yes, we can do that. We can praise some material, or the supplier can say that so and so architect has recommended this material, or the manufacturer also, he can recommend that so and so architect is satisfied with this material and he has recommended this material for so and so project. So B says exhibits his name outside his office or building completed under construction for which he is or was an architect in a manner all open publicity campaign without any signage restrictions. Now these four words, the last four words, without any signage restrictions, are the incorrect one. We have the signage restrictions. We'll discuss in detail about this signage restrictions. What is the font limit which is allowed as per the Architects Act or as per the Professional Code of Conduct. So option B is the incorrect one, right? C allows his name in brochures prepared by the client for the purpose of advertising, promoting projects for which he has been commissioned. Of course, the client in his advertisement, he can include the name of the architect, that so and so project has been designed by this architect. So people will come to know about that, yes, it has been designed by some renowned architects. We can definitely invest in that project. So this is allowed. The client, he can include the name of the architect in the brochures. Option D is the architect is liable for action if he produces or publishes brochures, pamphlets describing his experience, capabilities for distribution to those potential clients whom he can identify by name and positions. I think totally it is allowed, right? We can show our portfolio to the client. We can publish the brochures or pamphlets describing our experience or our capabilities, and we can show it to the clients which we know by name and by their positions. Option D is also the correct one. So as I said, we have the signage restrictions to use, where we can use our name, for example, outside our office or building which is completed or under construction, where we are an appointed architect. There is some signage restrictions. I am not telling in detail because the related question was there just next to this question. So here option B was the incorrect one. As I said, the restriction is An architect may exhibit his name outside his office or building completed or under construction for which he is or was an architect, provided the lettering does not exceed 10 centimeter in height. And the related question was earlier asked in UPSC MES recruitment exam question paper of 2019 in question 99. So as I said, the related question was there in the previous UPSC recruitment exam of architect. So I think selecting option B was not difficult one. Total score till this question would have been 42.5. Question 31st. Dolmen, Robbie House, Villa Shodhan and Falling Water are examples of architectural compositions which can be categorized under. Options given are planar compositions, B. Angular designs, C. Columnar designs, D. Architectural galley designs. The question related to Robbie House, Villa Shodhan, Falling Water and even for the Dolmen, the questions were asked in previous GATE question papers. One by one we will go through the options. If you see Robbie House, Villa Shodhan and Falling Water, Villa Shodhan designed by Le Corbusier, Falling Water designed by architect FLW. Both these houses, they do not follow the architectural design pattern, right? So option D is definitely the incorrect one. Option C is columnar designs. Now both the houses, they are not just made of columns, right? They does not follow only the column designs. Robbie House, similarly for the Robbie House as well. So option B says angular designs. Now you can see that all these houses, the plans section, they follow perfectly horizontal and vertical planes, right? It follow the linear pattern, not the angular designs. The walls are not in some angular way. So angular design given at option B is also the incorrect one. Whereas the correct suitable option here is option A, planar composition. All these structures, Dolmen, Robbie House, Villa Shodhan and Falling Water, the design follow some horizontal, the arrangement at a horizontal level and arrangement, the perfect linear arrangement in a vertical plane. So the related illustrations were also available in previous year question paper. As I just said, the question related to Dolmen was previously asked in GATE 2009 at question 30. First, you can check this particular question for Dolmen. For Robbie House, you can check the illustration in GATE 2016 at question 36. The question related to Villa Shodhan was previously asked in GATE 2016 at question 21st, and related to Falling Water, the question was there in ISRO 2017 at question 69. The illustrations were there. So this question 31st was also the easy question to solve because B, C and D are the incorrect or irrelevant option. If you are aware about the illustration, the plans of these structures, for example, Robbie House, Villa Shodhan and Falling Water, if you have done the multiple revision, you have understood the plans of these structures, then I think selecting option A was not difficult one. So A was the correct option for this. More 2.5 marks we will add. Total score would have been 47.5. The next 32nd question is, which one of the following is expressed as heat potential per unit area as a calorific value in joules per meter square? Options were light load, fire load, specific load and heat load. Now just try to understand what they have mentioned in the question. The heat potential per unit area. Consider you are working in some office space wherein surrounding yourself there is lot of combustible materials. The furnitures will be there. Then you have the doors, windows, if they are made up of combustible material like wood. You have the ceiling material which is made of some fiber or some wooden material is also used in the ceiling. Then that is also the combustible material. Together, if you add all these materials, then each material, they have some kind of calorific value. In case of fire, some amount of heat will be generated, and that heat, if we divide by the floor area, we will get the fire load. So correct option here is the fire load, and the question related to this fire load have been asked earlier in one of the GATE exam paper. So as I just said, fire load, it is an important factor we need to consider. Why? Because it is used in the assessment of fire risk. How much amount of water will be required based on this fire load. On the basis of that risk assessment, we will design our firefighting system. The amount of overhead tank, the firefighting tank will be required, how we can plan the sprinklers, water sprinklers in that particular space in order to mitigate the fire risk. So the fire load, it indicates the quantity of heat generated, as I explained just right now, the quantity of heat generated or the heat potential per unit area when the building will be caught by the fire. Then the amount of heat generated per unit area will be called as a fire load. So the formula is fire load is calculated by combustible material expressed in kilogram multiplied by calorific value in kilocalorie per kilogram. Each material will have a specified calorific value, right? Divide by the floor area in square meters. This will give you the fire load, which is expressed in joules per meter square. Now, if the calorific value is expressed in kilocalorie per kilogram and the combustible material in kilojoule, and the fire load, if in case the numerical answer type question is asked based on this, you have to first convert kilocalorie into joule. And what is the conversion factor? 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4184 joule. Please note down this conversion factor. Why I am saying this? Because the numerical answer type question based on this was previously asked in the recent GATE exam paper of GATE 2019 at question 54. You can pause this video and check this particular numerical answer type question in this particular year in the set 1 of Architect's Guidebook. So here, as I said, light load, specific load and heat load are not the correct one. B, option B, fire load is the correct answer for this question. So 2.5 more mark I have considered for this. Total score till this question would have been 50. Option 33, my mistake. Question 33 is which one of the following is the triangular portion of wall enclosing the end of a pitch roof? Option says A, girder, B, motif, C, gable, and D, plenum. Now the question related to this was also previously asked, and it is one of the easy question. I think selecting option C was not difficult one. The related question was earlier asked in 2004 and 2006 at these respective questions you can see on your screen. So in question 54 of GATE 2004, the question was match the pair. So here you can see that the nomenclature S, it correctly shows the gable end, right? So in question 33, they are asking which one of the following is the triangular portion of wall enclosing the end of a pitch roof. So this triangular portion is called as the gable end, right? This triangular portion which is enclosing the end of a pitch roof. So it is called as a gable. So here the correct option is option C, gable. The easy question, more 2.5 marks, total score is for 52.5. Question 34 of UPSC-CPWD 2023, which one of the following is a wedge-shaped thread used in circular, spiral and turning stairs? Options were rabbet, vitreous, valance and winder. Now again, similar like the previous one, this was also the easy question. There were direct references available related to this. The correct option here was winder. The similar question was earlier asked in earlier recruitment exam paper of ISRO 2018 at question 28, which you can see on your screen. The angular steps used for changing direction of the stair are called as, here again the correct answer was there, which is winder. The similar question or the illustration was also available in earlier question paper of GATE 2014 at question 23. Horizontally wedge shaped threads in stairways are termed as. So here you can see the illustration for this, the wedge shaped triangular steps, which are called as the winders. So here the correct option for option the question 34 was D, winder. Again, easy question. Total score till this question would have been 52.5. The next question, question 35, which of the following buildings is not designed by Le Corbusier? Read the question carefully. We have to identify which building is not designed by Le Corbusier. Option A says Carpenter Center for the Visual Arts, Harvard University, Cambridge. Yes, this building is designed by Le Corbusier. I have included the list of important structures by renowned architects in set 2. So you can find the list of buildings designed by Le Corbusier, in which we have included the particular building mentioned at option A, which is Carpenter Center for the Visual Arts at Harvard University. B says Callicine West, Scottsdale, Arizona, USA. This building is not designed by Le Corbusier. It was the house till his death of architect Frank Lloyd Wright, FLW. So option B, this building is not designed by Le Corbusier. So B is the correct option for this question. Option C is Mill Owners Association Building, Ahmedabad, India. This building is very famous building designed by Le Corbusier. Then High Court, Chandigarh. I think general question. This Capitol complex is designed by Le Corbusier. So B is the correct option. This building is not designed by Le Corbusier. So option B was the correct one. So as I said, Taliesin West, Scottsdale, Arizona, USA was architect FLW's winter home and studio in the desert from 1937 until his death in 1959. He died at the age of 91. So this building, it is being preserved as a monument in this particular area. So option B was the correct option for this question 35. Total score till this question would have been 55. Question 36. The natural ventilation principle evident in Pantheon of Rome is which of the following? Exhaust vent, venting tower, wind scoop, windbreak. Wind scoop and windbreak given at option C and D are totally the incorrect one, because it is not provided at some different height than the roof. We have discussed the illustration of Pantheon in GATE 2009 at question 37. You can refer the illustration for this Pantheon. We have also studied this in your history of architecture. This Pantheon design is based on a passive ventilation and natural light or thermal mass principle, in which the circular opening which is provided in the dome at the center is also called as the oculus. Now it serves as the only source of light, natural light, and also serve for the natural ventilation inside the building. Now how the ventilation takes place? It takes place because of the convection and the Venturi effect. The cooler air, it flows at the portico level. As the the air gets hotter, it will rises up and it will get exhausted from that central oculus. So here the principle followed is the Venturi effect, and it is provided the natural ventilation principle here, which is evident in the Pantheon of Rome, is venting tower. It is not exhaust vent or the wind scoop or the windbreak. It is the venting tower. The only principle or the only provision in that particular building is this central oculus, which provides the natural light as well as for the ventilation. So B option was the correct one for this. So 2.5 more marks we can consider for this. Total score would have been 57.5. The next question is based on the color theory. Question 37 was saturation in colors is referred to how light or dark the colors appears. B, purity of the color. Option C says appearance of the color. Option D says blackness of the color. We have discussed all these properties and their description in question 19 in GATE 2015. Multiple times the question based on the color theory have been asked in the previous GATE exam question papers, also in the recruitment exam question papers. So question 19 was the saturation level of a color represents, right? So here correct option was brilliance. The saturation defines how pure or how bright the color is. You can see in the explanation, In saturation, I have said it defines lightness. That means 100% bright color or the light color, it is fully saturated, right? Similarly, if you go on adding gray and the fully saturated color will be the pure color, as well as totally not saturated or nil saturated color will be the totally the darker one, right? It will be full of gray. So here question 37, saturation in color is referred to the purity of color. As you can read here, saturation, it defines the lightness. That means from pure, that is 100% original color is the pure color, and if you go on adding, it will reduce the saturation level. So option B was the correct one. Multiple times the question based on the color theory have been asked, so it is expected from the candidate that he is aware and he must understand, and it must be by heart to him that which property and the property and accordingly its significance. I think one more question based on the color theory have been asked in this similar in this same exam question exam paper. We'll discuss soon. So more 2.5 marks total score till this question would have been 60. Question 39, which one of the following is a progression of whole numbers wherein each term is the sum of the preceding two numbers? Options were Euclidean series, Fibonacci series, Pythagorean series and golden ratio series. If you have done the multiple revisions, then answering this question was not difficult one, because the reference was there in GATE 2006 at question 30. What was the question? The first four terms of Fibonacci series are 1, 1, 2, 3. The sixth term of the series will be which of the following? Now here you can see that the explanation have been provided. Fibonacci series is another progression that closely approximate golden section. It is very much close to the golden ratio series. And what is the series? Each term is the sum of two preceding ones, right? So here you can see the third term is 1 plus 1 2, the next term is 1 plus 2 3, similarly the next term will be 2 plus 3 5, the next term will be 3 plus 5 8, right? So this is the Fibonacci series. So in question 39 they are saying which one of the following is a progression of whole numbers wherein each term is the sum of the preceding two numbers. So the correct option here was option B, Fibonacci series. It could have been answered very quickly and easily as the reference was available next to you. We have discussed all the series, Fibonacci series, golden ratio series in the explanation for this particular question. So 2.5 more marks I will consider. Total score till this question would have been 62.5. The next question, as I said, again it is related to the color theory. Lightening a hue's normal value by adding white colors create which of the following? Again I will say refer GATE 2015 question 19. We have just discussed this explanation, the question prior to the previous one, in which you can see that the first one, hue, it defines the pure color in terms of green, red and magenta. It also defines mixtures of two pure colors like red and yellow. As we go on lightening this original, as we go on adding the white color to this natural hue, it will create the tint of that color, right? And if we go on adding the black color, it will create the shade of that particular color. So here in question 40 they are asking lightening a hue's normal value by adding white, it creates, as I just said, mix here you can see in the explanation that mixing of original color to white, that means we are lightening the color, right? So it will create the tint of that hue, which is mentioned at option B for question 40. So here option B was the correct one. If you have gone through this property I said earlier also and its significance, I think answering this question was not difficult one, but for that you need multiple revisions, thorough understanding of this concept of color theory. So total score would have been 65 by adding 2.5 more marks. Question 41, match the following. In group 1 they have mentioned the solid forms, and group B they have mentioned the description, right? You have to match the pairs, correct pairs. Group A has mentioned sphere, cylinder, pyramid, cone. We will go by the description given in Group B one by one. The description mentioned at serial number 1 is a solid generated by the revolution of right triangle about one of its sides. Now just consider that this is the right angle triangle, right? And you are revolving the right angle triangle along one of its sides. That means this side. So you can imagine that when you will revolve the right angle triangle along this side, it will create the cone, right? So which is mentioned at serial number S in group A. So the first correct pair will be S1. So you can observe in option A, B, C and D, the only option which match with this correct S1 pair is option B, right? So none of the other options are correct one. You can also check the other pairs. For example, in option B, they have mentioned R, they have matched R with 2. So for R is pyramid, they have matched a polyhedron having polygonal base and a triangular faces meeting at a common point or vertex. Yes, it is a correct explanation. Pyramid has a polyhedron polygonal base and all its faces are the triangular in shape, right, which are meeting at a common point or a vertex. So R2 is also the correct pair which is mentioned in option B. Then the next pair in option B which is given is Q4, right? Cylinder, they have matched with 4. What is the description mentioned at 4? A solid generated by the revolution of a rectangle about one of its side, right? If you consider or imagine a rectangle which is revolving around one of its side, let's say it is revolving along its longer side, then it will form a hollow pipe, right? And what is the next thing they are mentioning? It is centralized about the axis passing through the centers of two circular faces. They have mentioned that there are two circular faces there, and there is an axis which is passing through the centers, and the solid which is generated by revolution of a rectangle, it is centralized about this axis. So this will definitely create the cylinder. So Q4 is also the correct pair which is mentioned in option B. The last pair is P3, sphere. They have matched with 3. The description is a solid generated by the revolution of a semicircle about its diameter whose surface is at all points equidistant from the center. Yes, if we take the a semicircle and if we revolve it around its diameter, it will generate the sphere and whose surface at all points will be equidistant from the center. So P3 is also the correct pair. So here option B will be the correct one. The similar question was earlier asked in GATE 2012 at question 40. I will just quickly show you what was the question. In question 40, they have mentioned the particular solid in group 1, and you have to correctly select by giving which command mentioned in group 2 that particular solid will be formed. So similar to like the question 41, the previous the earlier question was there in one of the GATE question paper. So question 40 was very similar to this. So here, as I said, option B was the correct option for question 41, and I think selecting the option was not that difficult. Total score would have been 67.5 till this question. Next question, again related to the color theory. Natural hues do not include which of the following? Brown, grays, muted reds, purple, black and white. C says yellow, green and orange. D says brown, green and blue. Now you can see that black and white, these two colors are definitely not a part of natural hues, right? Because if we go on as I recently explained, that if you go on adding white, it will create the tint, and if you go on adding black to the color, it will create the shade of that color. So black and white, they are definitely not part of the natural hues. So you can in a way directly select option B as your correct answer for this, because purple, black and white, they are not they are not included in the natural hues. So more 2.5 marks you could have added here. Total score would have been 70. Question 52 was Sri Aurobindo Ashram Golconda at Puducherry is the work of which of the following architect? Options were Joseph Allen Stein, Frank Lloyd Wright, Walter Gropius, Raymond Antonin. Now the question related to this particular building was previously asked in UPSC-CPWD 2015 at question 43. What was the question? Question was, which building is regarded as the first modern building built on Indian soil? Here the correct option was Golconda, Puducherry or Pondicherry. This building is finished in 1945 and this was the first modern building on Indian subcontinent. Now it is desired that you must have read about this building, and because the reference was available, the architect who has designed this building is Raymond Antonin, which is mentioned at option D. So I will consider 2.5 mark for this particular question also. Total score till this question would have been 72.5. The next question, which was very easy to answer because the reference was directly available, question 53. Form follows function. One of the famous slogans widespread in modern design culture is coined by which of the following person? Option A, Louis Sullivan. B, Antino Giddens. C, Henry van de Velde. And then option D is Daniel Libeskind. So the same question was earlier asked in ISRO 2017 at question 79. Who coined the phrase form follows function as a principle associated with modernist architecture and industrial design? So the person who coined the term is Louis Sullivan. The explanation was there, so I think selecting option A would not have taken much time. Option A was the correct answer for question 53. More 2.5 mark I will consider for this question. Total score till this question would have been 75. Next question, question 54. Match the following. In group A, they have mentioned renowned architects, and group B, they have mentioned the philosophies or their philosophical approaches. Option, my mistake. Group A, the renowned architects mentioned includes, at P, they have mentioned Richard Rogers, Q, Hassan Fathy, D, Kenneth Frampton. Philosophies mentioned at group B at serial number 1 is towards a critical regionalism. Serial number 2 believes in functionalism, technology and scientific research as a foundation and tool for architecture. Serial number 3 turn to traditional forms and methods of construction, seeking both to accommodate the needs of the community and to hint at a way to being a revived tradition of a building. If you are aware about the two architects mentioned at Richard Rogers and Hassan Fathy, Richard Rogers, his work talks about functionalism, technology, scientific research. The famous example of his work is the Millennium Dome. I think the question based on this particular structure was also previously asked. And the next architect, Hassan Fathy, who is the Egyptian architect, the question related to this particular architect and his structures was way back asked in GATE 1995 at question 12. So this architect, Hassan Fathy, he was associated with his his philosophical approaches was towards the traditional forms. He used the traditional forms and methods of local construction, which in a way he tried to accommodate the needs of the community, the local Egyptian community, and he revived the tradition, the local tradition of the building construction. So here Q3 was the correct pair, the first pair, so which is mentioned at option A and option C as well. Option B and D will be the incorrect one. You have to select the next pair, the next suitable pair for this. As I just said, Richard Rogers, he is associated with a lot of use of technology and scientific approaches in his building. So he believes in functionalism. And as I just said, the question related to the building designed by Richard Rogers was previously asked. As you can see on your screen, question 34 of GATE 2016 was related to one of his famous structures, which is Millennium Dome in London, right? So this the reference related to his architecture or the building designed by Richard Rogers was there in one of the previous year question paper. So Richard Rogers is correctly or his philosophy is correctly mentioned at serial number 2, believes in functionalism, technology and scientific research as a foundation and tool for architecture. So P2 is the next correct pair. So option as we have matched Q with 3 and P with 2, right? So option C will be the correct one. The next, the only remaining architect which is mentioned at serial number R, Kenneth Frampton. He is famous for his essay on the subject of towards a critical regionalism. So the last and the only remaining pair are one which is correctly mentioned at option C. So option C was the correct one for here, question 54. So you could have selected this option C because the question based on the work of architect Hassan Fathy, the Egyptian architect, was there in one of the previous question paper. And again, the Richard Roger, he is associated with functionalism, use of technology and scientific research for this particular question 54 of UPSC CPWD. So total score would have been 77.5. I have considered 2.5 marks for this question. The next question, question 55, a famous book Disappearing City is written by which of the following architect? Now the reference was readily available in section 1.1.7.3, in which we have discussed important books and their authors in set 2. You can also see, I will just show you the list, this particular section 1.1.7.3. This subsection important books and authors, in which I have covered at serial number 38 this Disappearing City, which is written by FLW, Frank Lloyd Wright. So selecting option A was the easy one because you have read this in the set 2. If you have done multiple revisions of set 2, then I think answering this question was very easy. So more 2.5 marks I will consider, and total score would have been 80 till this question. Question 56, excellent integration between structural and decorative design reflects in the work of. Now, please focus on this integration between structural and decorative design. Immediately, the architecture style which should come to your come in your mind is Art Nouveau. This style has the excellent integration of structural and architectural or decorative designs. And the architect who is associated with this Art Nouveau style is architect Antonio Gaudi. So in question 10 of GATE 2001, I have explained about this particular style, which is also called as Jazz Moderna. The style is Art Nouveau movement, and I have explained the principal architects who are associated with this movement, which includes Louis Sullivan, Victor Horta, Hector Gourmet, and Antonio Gaudi. So selecting option C for question 56 of UPSC CPWD 2023 was not difficult one. 2.5 more marks I will consider. So total score would have been 82.5 till this question. Next question, again the reference was available. Question 57 was Bauhaus School of Thought was given by which of the following architect? So the reference was there in ISRO 2019 at question 11, in which I have discussed. The question was the aim of Bauhaus School of Architecture was which of the following, and in the explanation I have discussed, or I have explained what is the Bauhaus School of Thought, which are the who proposed this Bauhaus School of Thought. So the correct option for this question 57 was option A, Walter Gropius. He is associated, or he invented this Bauhaus School of Thought. So selecting option A was not difficult one. Total score till this question would have been 85. Question 58, I think the only numerical answer type question of this question paper was consider the quantities of brickwork and plastering required in a wall of 4 meter long, 3 meter high, and 30 centimeter thick. The only unit which is not expressed in meter is the thickness. So you have to convert this 30 centimeter into meter. The next part they are saying what is the total cost if the rate of brickwork is 1200 per cubic meter and of plastering is 20 per square meter, right? So for brickwork you have to calculate the volume of the total brick wall, and for plastering you just need to calculate two sides to the area of two surfaces of the brick wall. So as I just said, volume of brick wall will be 4 multiplied by 3, and we will convert this 30 centimeter into meter, which will be 0.30 meter. So 4 into 3 into 0.30, it will be 3.6 cubic meter. So the cost of brickwork, the unit cost of brickwork is 1200 per cubic meter, we will multiply 1200 by 3.6. It will, the value will be rupees 4320. And area of brick wall will be 4 multiplied by 3. 4 meter is the length and 3 meter is the height. So 4 multiplied by 3, it will give the value of 12 square meter. And because we will do the plastering on both sides, we will multiply by 2. So 12 into 2, it will be 24, and the unit rate of plastering is 20 rupees per square meter. So 12 into 2 by 20, the value will be rupees 480. So 4320 plus 480, the total will be rupees 4800, which is mentioned at option C. So the easy question, numerical answer type question. So again 2.5 more marks I will consider for this. So option till this question, the total score would have been 87 point. Question 63 was, which one of the following disaster agencies is responsible to provide human resource development and capacity building for disaster management? Options were NDMA, NDRF, NIDM and NCMC. Now this was something like a general knowledge question. If you go through the options one by one, NDMA, it stands for National Disaster Management Authority. Now what is the role of this authority? The main role or responsibilities they have is making the policies, plans and guidelines for the disaster management. Option B, NDRF. Now this is actually the workforce who is actively participating to rescue the people who are stranded in the disaster. So NDRF, it stands for National Disaster Response Force. So this force is constituted as per the statutory provisions of the Disaster Management Act 2005 for the purpose of specialized response, right? Just I said, in order to evacuate the people who are stranded in the disasters. The third one, NIDM. Now carefully read the question. In question they are saying human resource development and capacity building, that means training. And NIDM, it stands for National Institute of Disaster Management. So this NIDM was the correct answer for this. This institute is developed, or it is constituted under the Act of Parliament, and the role and responsibilities this institute have is developing the human resource development, capacity building, training, research, documentation and policy advocacy in the field of disaster management. The last one, NCMC, it stands for National Crisis Management Committee. It is set up also by Government of India, and the role is effective coordination and implementation of relief measures and operations. So as I said, the correct option here was option C, NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management. So easy question to answer. Total score would have been 90 till this question. The next question, question 64, densities below 3 to 4 dwelling units per acre, auto dependency, a road system designed to minimize traffic in residential areas, single use zoning, discontinuous developments and standalone buildings essentially trigger the phenomenon of. Options were illegal constructions, urban sprawl, conurbation, urban explosion. Now as they are mentioning, densities is very low, only 3 to 4 dwelling units per acre, right? Then there is auto dependency, there is no mass transit development in that particular urban area. Then the road are designed to minimize the traffic in the residential areas. Like you can go beyond and beyond than far from the central business district. Then the zoning is not the mixed zoning, only the single zoning, like residential area at one corner, then commercial area, commercial zone at other corner, like that. And then the third one or the next one is discontinuous development and standalone buildings. Now this will definitely lead to the phenomenon of urban sprawl, now which is given at option B. Now we have discussed the definition of what is urban sprawl, or it was a very easy question to answer, because illegal construction, it is, we can't say definitely, because what is explained or what is given in the information of question 64, it does not necessarily lead to illegal construction. Similarly, urban explosion, cannot be possible because it does not match with the description given in the question. Third one, or the other remaining option, conurbation, we have also discussed the definition of this conurbation in question 8 of GATE 1995. So conurbation, it is a term coined by Patrick Geddes, and it means that aggregation of continuous network of urban communities. Let's take the example like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai. These are all called as the urban conurbation, right? So here the correct option was option B, urban sprawl. This kind of situation, like very low density of 3 to 4 dwelling units per acre, lot of auto dependency, road system designed to minimize the traffic in residential area, single use zoning, it will lead to the problem of urban sprawl, right? The urban area will go on increasing and increasing beyond some defined boundaries. So again, I will say this was easy question to answer. Total score till this question would have been 92.5. The next question, question 73, which we are going to discuss here. In construction project management, PERT refers to. Now, I think many times the question have been asked based on CPM and PERT. We have also discussed in set 2 what is the difference between CPM and PERT. What are the differences in between CPM and PERT? So this PERT, it stands for Program Evaluation and Review Technique. So you can see that in all the 4 options, only option A has this RT, which correctly stands for review technique. So option A is correct one here. So the similar question was there in GATE 2015 at question 2. And as I said, we have discussed about this project management, CPM and PERT in section 2 under section 2 construction and management in set 2, where you can see that we have discussed what is the difference between PERT and CPM. Lot of time the question have been asked based on this PERT and CPM. So A was the correct option for this question 73. I think easy question. Total score would have been 95. Question 74, damp proofing technique is which of the following? Option A says is basically a liquid applied damp proofing, not the correct one. Involves brushing a bituminous based tar-like coating on the area. Yes, this is the correct one. Option C says involves plastering a cement based mixture over the area. Now DPC, the damp proofing course, does not mean that it is a plastering. We have to discontinue the water which is coming from the ground level, because just imagine that plinth area will be all time, it will be attached or it will be in closeness with the groundwater, right? The water which is present near the ground, the plinth area will be always in contact with the groundwater. So that the dampness, it should not rise in the superstructure. So we provide the damp proof course above the plinth beam before construction of the masonry. So this damp proofing is actually, it involves brushing a bituminous based tar coating on the plinth, so that the water at the plinth level, it should not rise and it should not come into contact with the superstructure. So option B was the correct one. The reference or the similar question or the information was available in ISRO 2015 at question 47 and GATE 2018 at question 21. So you can see in question 47 of ISRO 2015, here one of the question was which of the following statements are true, and in sentence which is mentioned at serial number 2, they have mentioned bitumen felt is used as a damp proofing material. So yes, this sentence was correct, and because of that we have answered that which of the following statements are true. So 2 and 3 statement was correct here. So you have read this information earlier in this recruitment exam question paper. So for 74, the correct option was option B. More 2.5 marks you could have added here. Total score would have been 97.5. The next question, question 75. Which one of the following is the maximum population size of a species that an ecosystem or habitat can support indefinitely? Options were maximum CT, B sustainability, C carrying capacity, D is biomagnification. Now the question based or the information related to the correct option for this question was available in GATE 2022 at question 77. What was the question? Question 77 in GATE 2022 was, which among the following is or are the component or components of the assimilative carrying capacity of urban environment? Now, can you see the word carrying capacity? So in explanation, we have discussed this. Assimilative carrying capacity is defined as the ability of the environment or a portion of the environment, such as stream, lakes, air mass or soil layer, to carry the waste material without adverse effect. There will be some kind of a lipid. Beyond that, there will be environmental degradation. Environment can't carry the lot of burden beyond a certain limit. So there is a threshold. There is some kind of a carrying capacity of the environment. And as it is given in question 75, the maximum population size or a species that an ecosystem or a habitat can withstand or can support indefinitely, it is called as the carrying capacity. So here the correct option was option C, because the reference was available. You have read it in question 77 of the recent GATE papers of 2022. You could have answered this question very easily. So 2.5 more marks you could have achieved here. Total score would have been 100. The next question, again the easy one, question 77 was, which one of the following is saving the property from fire or other damages? Options were destruction, salvage, preservation, refurbishment. Now option A cannot be the option, like destruction cannot be the solution to save the property from fire or other damages, right? Option B says salvage. Now salvage, we have discussed what is salvage value. It is the value of a property or any machinery once the useful life is over of that machinery or that property. It is called as the salvage value, right? So again, there is no relation of salvage with the preservation or saving the property from fire or other damages. Then D, refurbishment cannot be the solution to save the property from fire or other damages. The correct suitable answer for this was preservation. I think we have discussed this term restoration, renovation, refurbishment, preservation in one of the earlier GATE question paper. So building preservation is the process of applying measures to maintain and sustain the existing materials, integrity and form of the building, including its structure and building artifacts. So as I said, option C was the correct one for this question. I think all the remaining three options, option A, B and D, were irrelevant. The only suitable answer was option C. Easy to select the correct option. So more 2.5 marks I will consider for this. So total score would have been 102.5. Question 78 was, traditional stucco is a mixture of which of the following? A says cement, sand and lime. B, lime and cement. C, cement and surkhi. D, lime, spirit and sand. Now the question based on this stucco was there in GATE 2011 at question 32. The question was match the pair question, right? So what is mean by stucco? Here it was, you can see on the screen, in question 32 they have defined, they have mentioned the term in group 1 and what is the description. So you can see here, stucco means it is a plaster, right? So we have matched Q with 5, right? Q with 5. So for question 32 answer was C. So and also we have discussed about this stucco in our set 2 under the building materials. So I'm just reading the information from this. Set 2, a coarse plaster composed of Portland or masonry cement, sand and hydrated lime. I think these three materials, they are mentioned in option A of question 78 of UPSC-CPWD, mixed with water and applied in a plastic state to form a hard covering for exterior walls is called as stucco. As I mentioned, the question based on this was there in GATE 2011, which we have just discussed, which was question 32 of GATE 2011, and also the related question was there in GATE 2004 also, right? So I think selecting option A was not difficult if you have gone through this both the books carefully, have done the multiple revisions. So more 2.5 marks I will consider. Total score till this question would have been 105. The next question, again the reference was available readily. Question 85 was, which one of the following is a local atmospheric zone where the climate differs from the surrounding areas? Please underline the word local atmospheric zone where the climate differs from the surrounding areas. The suitable option among the 4 given options, ambient climate, mesoclimate, microclimate and bioclimate, the correct option here was microclimate, and the similar question was earlier asked in GATE 2005 at question 10. You can see, or you can read on your screen, the question 10 was microclimate refers to. The correct option for this question 10 was climate created for limited surface, limited space. Here they have mentioned local atmospheric zone. So the correct option was option C, microclimate. I think easy question, that there was direct reference available. Total score would have been 107.5 till this question. Question 86, again the similar one. Similar question was earlier available in set 1 of Architect's Guidebook. Question 86 was, which one of the following is a linear, wide and shallow depression used to temporarily store, root or filter runoff? Options were swale, channel, screen, and D is invert. Now the same question was earlier asked in ISRO 2019 at question 47. You can see on your screen, question 47 of ISRO 2019 was a linear, wide and shallow depression used to temporarily store, root or filter runoff is called as. Here we have discussed, and I think the illustration was also available in GATE 2016 at question 35. You can pause the video and check this particular illustration. So here we have discussed the same question, and the same question is repeated in UPSC-CPWD. So I think selecting option A was not that difficult. More 2.5 marks I will consider. So total score would have been 110 till this question. Question 89, as per development control rules and general building requirements of National Building Code 2016, there shall be one dispensary for every 10,000 population. B says 5,000 population. Option C, 15,000 population. Option D, 20,000 population. Now we have discussed the information was readily available. The correct answer for this question was there in GATE 2022, the recent exam paper, at question 36. What was the question? In question 36, they have mentioned the healthcare facilities in group 1, and we have to match the corresponding population they are serving in group 2. So here you can see in Q they have mentioned the dispensary, and the correct pair for this, the correct population it is serving is 15,000 population. You can read it in option B, where we have matched Q with 1, that is dispensary. One dispensary is required for 15,000 population. So for question 89, the correct option was option C, 15,000 population, because the reference was available. If you have read this multiple times, you can remember this population they are serving. For example, a multi-speciality hospital will be required for how many population, then veterinary hospital is required for how many population. You can go through and try to by heart this kind of a figure, so that it will be useful for you if the same question can be repeated, or it will be repeated in some other different way in the recruitment exam or in the GATE paper also. So more 2.5 mark I will consider. Total score would have been 112.5 till this question. Question 91, again related to the color theory. Which one of the following is the degree of lightness or darkness of a color in relation to white and black? Now we have discussed these terms. Yeah, the saturation defines the purity of the color, and as you go on adding white or black, it gives the value, right? So the degree of lightness or darkness in a color, in color in relation to white and black, it gives the value of that color, right? So C option was the correct for this question. I think we have discussed the questions from this exam paper only, I think a few minutes back. So many questions were based on the color theory. So it is expected that the candidate should go through, he must understand the property and their significance related to the color theory. So more 2.5 marks you could have added here. Total score would have been 115 till this question. Question 92, which one of the following is a continuous molding that crowns or horizontally divides a wall? The question or the reference related to this particular question was there in GATE 2015 and GATE 2007 also. You can check these respective questions in the previous year question paper. So the continuous molding which crowns or horizontally divides a wall is called as a cornice, right? So here the correct option was option A. I just want to make some announcement here. By mistake, I have written the answer for this particular question as B co. In some prints, if you are referring this particular print in this year, so in few prints it was by mistakenly typed as co. So please kindly correct it, as the correct option is cornice. I'm presenting my extreme apologies because of this typing mistake, but the correct answer was option A, cornice. I realized this mistake, I think after printing of the book. So kindly make this correction. It's my humble request to all. If you are reading this particular edition, then please kindly make this correction in your books. So option A was the correct one here. Total score would have been 117.5. Question 93. Which one of the following is a measure of brightness of light source or an illuminated surface? Now the information was readily available in GATE 2006 at question 68, where we have discussed all these terminologies. The correct option for here was option D, luminance, because we have discussed this terminologies in that particular question. The luminance, it is the quantitative property which gives the strength of the source of light, right? Whenever you go and buy some light source, we generally ask for what is the luminance that particular light source is providing. So brightness of a light source or an illuminated surface, it is measured in terms of a luminance, so which is mentioned at option D. So the reference was readily available. I will consider 2.5 marks for this question. Total score would have been 120 till this question. Question 95. Which one of the following is the key proponent of 7 principles of universal design that is also widely applied in the design of interior spaces as well as outdoor environments? Options were Ronald Mace, Marion Roberts, Nabil Hamdi, and D. Frank Lloyd Wright. Now, the question related to universal design was previously asked in GATE 2022 at question 40. Also, the question was there in GATE 2014 at question 47 and GATE 2009 at question 25. So, the architect who coined this term universal design, the architect is Ronald Mace, which is mentioned at option A. He gave the 7 principles of universal design. I think we have discussed all these 7 principles of universal design in set 2 of Architect's Guidebook. So the correct option for question 95 was option A, Ronald Mace. If you have read about, if you have done the revision and in your notes, if you have made this addition that this universal design term was coined by so and so architect, and then I think selecting the correct option for this question was not that difficult. Total score would have been 122.5. The next question, little bit tricky or difficult, but if you we have also covered the theory related to the correct option. Question 98 was, which one of the following provides to describe design principles and elements, that is contrast, symmetry, wideness and constriction, threshold and vistas, which can help the designer to control spatial compositions in design, is which of the following? Option A, imageability, B, theories of Gestalt, C, figure ground thinking, and D, Bauhaus techniques. The correct option for this question was theories of Gestalt, according to me. So the reference was there in GATE 2011 at question 34. We have discussed all his laws, Gestalt laws of visual perception in set 2 as well as in set 1. So the correct option here was option B, theories of Gestalt, right? So total score till this question would have been 125. The next question, 101. Which one of the following is the lowest inside point of a pipe, culvert or channel, right? So similar question was there in one of the previous question paper. It was GATE 2015 at question 20. Question 20 says invert level of a pipe at a given cross section refers to. So the question was the opposite in nature. In question 101, they are asking, they have given the definition and they are asking which is the suitable term for this definition. In question 20, they have mentioned the definition, or they have mentioned the term, and we have to select the corresponding definition from the given option. So the correct option was invert level, the lowest inside point of a pipe culvert or channel is called as the invert, right? So again, easy question, direct reference was available. Total score till this question would have been 127.5. Question 103, which one of the following is a measure of the amount of energy released during an earthquake? Options given: earthquake magnitude, B fault, C isoseismal, option D epicentral distance. You can see that the option B, C and D are totally the incorrect, irrelevant one. The reference related to the correct answer, which is mentioned at option A, earthquake magnitude, was there in question 66 of GATE 2023. The magnitude of the earthquake is measured in terms of Richter scale. It is measured in Richter scale. It is actually the amount of energy released during an earthquake. So earthquake magnitude is the correct answer for question 103. So option A was the suitable one. The related reference, as you can see on your screen, was available in question 66 of GATE 2023. More 2.5 marks I will consider for this. Total score would have been 130 till this question. The next question, question 105. Which of the following statements is not a correct? Please underline. We have to select which statement is not a correct one. Correct reason: for buildings shaped like a box, such as rectangular or square, both in plan and elevation, being inherently stronger than the ones that are L-shaped or U-shaped, that is building with wings. Please read the question 2 times so that you can understand it. Option A says asymmetric compositions can present local deformations. Yes, this statement is true. Option B says local deformations in asymmetric compositions are caused due to the presence of re-entrant corners and excessive openings. The information related to this term mentioned in statement or option B, re-entrant corner, was there in one of the previous year question paper. Option C says box-shaped buildings can present ideal seismic behavior because they have same displacement at every point in the slab. Very true statement. Option D, exactly opposite sentence of option C. Option D is box-shaped building can present ideal seismic behavior because they have different displacement at every point in the slab. Now this is the incorrect statement. The reference was there in UPSC-MES 2019 question paper at question 12. The similar question was there in UPSC-MES question 12. You can see on your screen. For minimizing the impact of earthquake, which of the following solutions are proposed for L-shaped building? Now we have to select which solutions we can select among the options given. In question 34 of GATE 2018, we have also discussed the solutions or the building structures, shapes and configuration for earthquake resistant building. So in that we have discussed that the box shaped building, they are ideal for the if we say, or if we talk about the earthquake resistant building. So box shaped building, they present the ideal seismic behavior because they have same displacement at every point in the slab, which is given at option C, which is the true statement. And here because we have to select the incorrect statement, option D will be the suitable one here. As I said, in question 34 of GATE 2018, you have this explanation given, like what kind of irregularities we should avoid in while planning the building in order to make it in earthquake resistant structure. So here option D was the suitable one. It is the incorrect statement. So because the references were available, I think I am considering that the candidate have answered it correctly. So 2.5 more marks I have considered. Total score would have been 132.5 till this question. The next question, which one of the following is an area of uniform environmental conditions providing a living space for a specific assemblage of plants and animals? Options were biotope, biodiversity hotspot, C is patch, D is eco-sensitive area. Little bit tricky or difficult question, but the reference related to this term, which is mentioned at option A, biotope, was there in one of the previous year question paper. It was there in GATE 2022 at question 37, where we have discussed the biotope factor. Now biotope is synonymous to the term habitat, right? So habitat, it means that the condition, the environmental conditions are same in that particular area where you will find the similar kind of species of plants and animals. So option A was the correct one here. As I said, I'm just showing you question 37 of GATE 2020, where the question based on biotope factor was asked, right? So biotope factor, it means biotope area factor, it means it is an ecological parameter which establishes the proportion of the area to be left as a green space development for new buildings. So it in a simple language, it is just the open area where you can have the green areas. It includes the courtyards, roofs, walls, where you can develop the greeneries, right? So this the question related to the biotope factor was earlier asked in GATE 2020 at question 37. So here the correct answer was biotope. As I said, biotope is almost synonymous with the word habitat. So habitat, it means in that particular habitat there is a uniform environmental conditions for particular specific assemblage of plants and animals. So if you have read about this biotope, you could have added more 2.5 marks. Total score would have been 135 till this question. Question 108, the reference was readily available for this particular question. Question was, phosphate pollution of rivers and lakes causes of the algal bloom, which reduces dissolved oxygen in water and disrupts the food chain. The process is called which of the following options? Options were oligotrophy, B, desertification, C, fermentation, and D, eutrophication. Now fermentation and desertification are definitely the incorrect one. The answer or the information was there in GATE 1998 question paper at question 11. What was the question? Question was the phenomena of degrading water quality of natural water bodies in decomposition is called as. Here you will find the correct option, which is option B, eutrophication. You have read the definition in this particular question 11 of GATE 1998. The definition provided was excessive richness of nutrients in a lake or other body of other water body, frequently due to runoff from the land, which causes a dense growth of plant life. Plant life, here they have mentioned just the algal bloom, right? So the correct option here was option D, eutrophication, which was already provided in the explanation of GATE 1998 question 11. So answering this question was easy. If you have done the multiple revisions, you could have answered this question quickly. Total score would have been 137.5. Next question, again the easy one, 109. Which one of the following is elevated temperatures in urban areas caused by heat fluxes due to the presence of buildings, roads, and so on, and to emissions of pollutants? Options were greenhouse effect, carbon trapping, heat island effect. Option D, physical weathering. The answer was very easy. It is option C, heat island effect. The reference was there in GATE 1995 at question 2. Also the similar question was asked in GATE 1993 at question 10. Then UPSC-CPWD 2015 at question 24. Then GATE 2011 at question 10. You can check these respective questions in the set 1 of Architect's Guidebook. So one of the question, I'm just reading question 2. Of the following types of landscape, which one produces heat island? As I said, option C was the correct one here. The definition related to urban heat island was given in this particular question. It refers to increased surface temperature in some pockets of a city caused by an ever-changing microclimate, right? So option C was the correct one for question 109 of UPSC-CPWD 2023. Total score till this question would have been 140. Question 112, as per Model Building Bylaws 2016, the minimum plot size for low income group housing shall not be less than 20 square meter, 30 square meter, 10 square meter, or 15 square meter. Now the reference was there in the recent UPSC recruitment exam question paper of MES 2019 at question 47. What was the reference? Question 47 was, as per NBC, in case of single tenement, the carpet area of the multi-purpose single room should be at least, right? So here I have described about the low income housing development, where you can read the underlined sentence. The minimum plot size recommended as per URDPFI guideline for LIG housing should not be less than 30 square meter, right? So option B for question 112 of UPSC CPWD was the correct answer. I think selecting this option was not that difficult if you have read this multiple times, that what is the plot requirement for the minimum plot size requirement for this LIG housing. So more 2.5 marks we can consider. Total score would have been 142.5. Next question again related to the housing. Question 114 was, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation guidelines define affordable housing for EWS and LIG categories with dwelling unit size ranging from. Options were 21 square meter to 60 square meter carpet area, B 10 square meter to 20 square meter, option C 60 square meter to 80 square meter, option D is 80 square meter to 100 square meter. Now the most suitable option for this particular question would have been 30 square meter to 60 square meter. And why I am saying, because we have discussed this particular area in question 12 of GATE 2022, where I have provided the particular table, which was the reference was there under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme. This table I have taken from the particular website of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where you can see the size or the dwelling size recommended by the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. For EWS category, the carpet area mentioned is 30 square meter, and for LIG category up to 60 square meter. So as I said in the explanation, the most suitable option would have been 30 square meter to 60 square meter. But as you can observe in the four options, option A is very near to this suitable carpet area, 21 square meter to 60 square meter. So I think option A will be the suitable answer for this question. So total score till this question would have been 145. Slowly we are reaching 50% target for this particular question paper. Question 117, again the reference related to this particular question was there. Net residential density includes which of the following? Option A, area occupied only by the housing. Option B, area occupied only by the housing and also the private gardens, parking spaces, access roads within the site. Option C, area occupied by the housing, private gardens, access road within the site, parking spaces adjacent to the site. Option D, area occupied by the housing, private gardens, parking spaces, access roads within the site, and half the width of the surrounding areas, surrounding roads. Now D is totally the incorrect or irrelevant option. The definition related to this net residential density we have discussed in GATE 1993 at question 2, right? So I'm just reading out the definition from that explanation. It refers to number of dwelling per hectare on the land devoted solely to residential development, and what the density includes, or what that area includes. It includes private driveways, private open spaces, garden, but it does not include public roads, right, and areas of public open spaces. So you can see that the correct suitable definition for this residential area, which areas are included while calculating the net residential density, it is mentioned in option B, right? Area occupied only by the housing and also the private gardens, parking spaces, access road within the site, not the roads outside the site will not be included. They have mentioned in option C that parking spaces adjacent to the site, they will not be included in the while calculating the net residential density. So correct option for question 117 was option B. Total score would have been 147.5 till this question. Question 118, again the easy one to answer. Which one of the following international charter is focused on the conservation and restoration of monuments and site? Options were Burra Charter 2013, B Venice Charter 1964, option C Washington Charter 1987, option D Charter on Built Vernacular Heritage 1999. The reference was directly available in the recent GATE paper of GATE 2021 at question 28, right, where we have discussed the particular convention and what was the target. So Venice Charter 1964, it is related to the conservation and restoration of monuments and sites, right? So here the correct suitable option was option B, Venice Charter. Reference was available. You have read about all the charter, like Burra Charter. You can see the information related to the Burra Charter 2013 was also available in this particular question paper of GATE 2021 at question 28. So selecting option B was not that difficult if you have gone through the theory multiple times. So total score would have been 150. Question 119, again the easier one. Which one of the following acts is to provide for the preservation of ancient and historical monuments and archaeological sites and remains of national importance, for the regulation of archaeological excavations, and for the protection of sculptures, carvings and other like projects? Now the similar question was there in GATE 2023 at question 25. Also the question was there in GATE 2016 at question 7. Now the correct answer is AMASR Act 1958, right? So this, the long form is the which is given in those particular explanation. So option B, ancient monument and historical remaining regulation. I'm not sure, I'm not exactly able to recall the long form, but it is mentioned in this particular earlier year question paper. So option B, AMASR Act 1958 was the correct suitable option, and which was easy to select because 2 to 3 times the reference was there in one of the previous year questions. So 2.5 more marks I will consider for this. Total score would have been 152.5 till this question. The last question of this question paper. Action taken to modify the existing material and structure of a cultural property to represent a known earlier state is called as preservation, renovation, restoration, reconstruction. As I said just few minutes back, we have discussed the terminologies related to the conservation in one of the previous year question paper. The reference was there in GATE 2008 at question 65 as well as UPSC-CPWD 2016 at question 117. The related question was there in these two question papers. Also, we have discussed the theory related to the conservation in section 4.8.2 in set 2 of Architect's Guidebook, where we have discussed the terminologies preservation, restoration, reconstruction. So here the correct suitable option was option D, reconstruction. Reconstruction means and includes returning a place as nearly as possible to a known earlier state and distinguished by the introduction of material. New material will be introduced in reconstruction, right? So as it is, you can see the definition is available in question 120, and they are asking the definition is which of the following term. So it is option D, reconstruction is the correct suitable option for this. So because the theory was available, also we have discussed it in one of the previous year question paper. Selecting option D was not the difficult one. This question was the easy one to answer. So total score till this question would have been 155, which we have discussed in the beginning. So friends, that was the last question of this question paper. I hope this lecture has helped you in terms of knowledge gain while appearing for competitive exams like UPSC. If you think this has helped you, then do consider leaving your feedback by clicking on the like button, by subscribing to the channel, or leave your feedback in the comment box section. The QR code to order both the guidebooks is there on your screen, as well as the link is there in the description box. So do consider referring these books. I wish you all the best for the upcoming recruitment exam of UPSC-CPWD Deputy Architect. See you soon in the next lecture. Take care of yourself. Thank you.